Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to our 100 Adverbs in 3 Months challenge, where we break down one adverb a day in just 5 minutes. Today is day 76. Can you believe it? We're almost at the finish line. Understanding adverbs will really help you get the nuance of English sentences, and reading will become so much more enjoyable. So, after today's lesson, why not pick up a book or an article and see how adverbs change the meaning? You'll find it much easier to get the gist of what you're reading. Let's start with a fun little quiz to get our minds going. I'm going to describe a situation, and I want you to imagine it in your head. Then, you'll choose the best sentence that uses the word differently. Ready? Imagine this. You and your friend always study together, but today your friend decided to study alone. Which sentence best describes this situation? 1. She studied differently today. 2. She studied the same way today. 3. She didn't study at all today. Take a second to think about it. Okay, got your answer? If you picked number 1, she studied differently today, you got it. Differently tells us that she changed the way she usually studies. Nice job. Now let's imagine something together. Think back to a time when you tried something new. Maybe you walked a different way home or ate a new dish at a restaurant. How did that feel? That little shift, that change in routine, is what differently is all about. It's about doing something in a fresh, new way. Let's move on to how we use differently in everyday English. We often use it to talk about how someone acts or thinks in a unique way. It's also handy when you want to describe how something is done, like when you approach a problem in a new way. Let's look at a few examples to see differently in action. Imagine your friend always chooses vanilla ice cream, but today she goes for chocolate instead. You could say, today she chose differently. Here, differently shows us that she made a different choice than usual. Now picture this. You're working on a project, and normally you follow the same steps, but today you decided to try something new. You might say, I approached the project differently this time. In this case, differently shows that you used a different method or approach. Sometimes you might hear the phrase in a different way instead of differently. They mean almost the same thing, but in a different way can sound a bit more formal and puts more emphasis on the method itself. For instance, let's say you usually cook eggs by frying them, but today you decide to boil them. You might say, I cooked the eggs in a different way today. This phrase, in a different way, really highlights that you changed your usual cooking method. Now, it's your turn. I'd love to see how you use differently. Head down to the comments and write your own sentence using today's word. It's a great way to practice, and I'll be checking out your sentences to give you feedback. To wrap things up, remember that differently is all about doing something in a new or different way. Keep practicing. Watch where you place it in a sentence, and soon it'll feel natural to use. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for day 77 of our adverb challenge. Until then, keep learning and having fun with your English.